Now let's see how you can play with format in Trado Studio. As I told you before, the easiest way to do it is to simply copy source to target. This will let you preserve all the tags and all the other characters. Like in my case, this is some Chinese characters, and you can also preserve the color of the font, the style, all the links, and all other elements as well. But you might have a situation when you have like this sentence, right? A simple sentence only containing a couple of words highlighted in bold. There are a number of situations for you in this case, a number of options actually to preserve this format. You can either type the translation manually by yourself, right? And I only need to highlight one word in my translation. Since this is the bold formatting, I can simply use the combination that I know from using Microsoft Word, which is Control B, right? Or apply bold. This is what I do. I do Control B, and I have my word highlighted. Well, as you can see, the sentence is ready for being confirmed. Another option here, I will undo my action like this. Another option here is to highlight the word that you need to apply the bold to, and you go to the source area, you position your cursor over the words that contain the format, and you press and hold control button like this. As you can see, there's some yellow background which appears beyond these two words. So what you do is you simply left click like this. As you can see, this word is already in bold now. And the last option here is to simply copy source to target like this, and you type your translation in the following way. Okay, I've got one word done. Then you move cursor to the very last letter of the words that contain the format, and you do one space. Then you type the word like this. Then you move cursor to the next position, and you continue typing your translation, and you will have no bold applied to the rest of the words. Okay, so all that remains now for you is to simply delete the parts of the sentences that you don't really need, and you have your translation ready for confirmation. So what I do is I press Control and Enter like this. Now we can save our changes, and we can actually close this document, because for now this is probably it with the way you type translations, with the way you confirm sentences, with the way you format your sentences, and save target documents. So for closing, as you remember, I use Control F4 like this, and another Control F4. Now let's see how you can add files to your active projects and how you can delete files from the projects. Let's go to our project number 1. So the easiest way is to actually either use the option from the ribbon interface, which is Add Files, or you can right-click and select Add Files. Let's go to the folder that I have prepared, which is Training Course, Sample Files, and I have a folder containing some files. I select a single file. As you can see, this file has a different format, which is not a problem, as a matter of fact. So what you do is you either select the task you need to apply to this file from the ribbon interface, which means you have to prepare it without Project AM, right? The same operation that we did with our first file, or you right-click and select it from here, Prepare without Project AM. The dialog that we already know appears. You go next, and actually you can finish, because the same number of tasks will be applied to this file. Then we wait for the task to be completed. We have 5 check marks, which is okay, and we close the dialog. Now you need to switch back to the target language. For this, you have to press Files, then this arrow, you select Russia. In my case, it's Russia. And I have the document partly translated because some of the information was already present in the memory of the project, of the translation project. And I can straight proceed with translation. Now let's see how you add a number of files to the project, to your project. You right-click, Batch Tasks. Oh, sorry. We have to switch back to the source language like this. Yeah, add files. Now let's add a number of files, like 4 of them. Now, I guess you can say that the more files you add to your project, the longer time it takes for your system to process them. So the less files you actually process at a time, the better, especially if you have some formatting or you have files of bigger size than mine. So you need to simply press open and wait a little bit. Now we can select those 4 files and apply the text that we already know. Prepare without project TM. Go next and finish. You can now see that it actually takes more time for my system to process all those files. So it's highly preferable that you only limit yourself to a limited number of files in order not to waste time, I go close. And then I can switch back to the target language to see that my files are, as you see, they are pre-translated. So I can simply right-click on them and select Open for Translation, or I can double-click with my left button and continue with translation of these files. Now, as you have, in case you have a need for deletion of some of those files from your active project, what you do is you right-click and you select Delete Files, like this. You will be prompted by the system that the files will be actually deleted from the disk. What this means is the files were actually added to your project. Let's see it. Documents, SDL Studio 15 projects, like this. So we have added these files. You see, the system has generated the SDLX file for each one of them, which is the file we need for, which is prepared while we convert the files, and we have the same type of file, which will be the bilingual one for these 5 files. So what the system means by showing us this message is that these files will be deleted only from the project folder, not from your system permanently, because we have copied those files from some direction to our project folders. So after I delete them, I will only lose them in these 2 folders, not on the system, not on the hard disk, right? So what I do is I confirm deletion, and actually I might as well delete all of these files as well. As you can see, you can delete a number of files. So I select them, I right click and I select delete files, like this. Now let's see what we have. Yeah, we also need to check this. Yeah, we were in our target language. If you switch to source language, you see that some of the files still remain. So you have to also delete them. Actually, if you need to do this, right? You also have to delete them from your source language folder, like this. And if I now return back to my project folder, I can see that I only have my source file here remaining, and I also have my root, this target folder, with only 1 file remaining. So this is what was meant by this message, that you will only lose these files from these 2 folders that are actually project folders in our case. Now let's see how the option called Translate Single Document works. As I was telling you before, I was going to return to it, so this is probably the time. You can either use it from the home screen, or you can go File, Open, and Translate Single Document. A dialog appears. Let's select our source file for translation. In this dialog, you need to check whether you have the correct source and target languages. So I have to change my target language to Russian, like this. And I also need to add some translation memory to work with, right? So I can use our translation memory. Let's check it from Documents, Studio, Translation Memories. Here it goes. And I should probably remove this mark from here, because I might have the same languages for my future use, but I might have to use a different translation memory. Since I need to check it, I'd rather remove it from here and go OK. You're moved straight to the editor view to start translating your file. Now, the disadvantage that I actually see about this procedure, I mean the translate single document one, is that in this case, no project is being actually created, and your target file is not being automatically populated with the translations, even in case you have ones in your translation memory, right? Like here, in this case, we know that we have already translated a few sentences from this document, and we would rather have them inserted here automatically instead of having to do it manually like this. Since we have added the translation memory that we created before to this project containing these translations for these 10 sentences, what I do is I go to the next line, and as you can see, I have the translations inserted automatically, right? But still, as I told you before, I have to actually manually go to each segment for every translation to be inserted by system into my target field. Now, the easiest way to do this, and in case you know that you have some translations done before, is to use the option of confirming and translating until next fuzzy match, which is Control-Alt-F. So what I do is I press Control, Alt, and F. And here it goes. As you can see, all the translations that actually had an exact match were just copied from the translation memory that we use for this project. And after the system found an unknown source, an unknown segment, it stopped, which is OK. Now we have an asterisk here, so we have to actually save our document. I press Control S. A dialog appears, and I can actually select whatever path I want to save my document to. I'll select simply desktop. This is the name suggested by the system. I don't mind it. I'll press save. Now, as you can see here on the table, on the desktop, we have these two files that appear here after we just saved our file. They are the project itself and the bilingual SDLX file. Let's compare what we have in case we actually generated project. Now this is our project. If I would actually do this file with the create project procedure, I would actually have a folder with my source files, a folder for analytics, another folder for my target files, and the project itself. But in this case, we don't have a folder, which I think already is not actually convenient, because I have these two files actually saved here, like with no system, right? With no exact order. Plus, I don't have this file. I don't have the single language SDLX lib file, and the absence of this file might in future not let me save my target file as soon as I complete translation. I don't really know what the problem with this is, but just according to my experience, when I was using the translate single document procedure for a quick translation, sometimes I would have a problem with saving my target files. I would be getting different mistakes from Trados, and I would have to actually go on the web and search for the solutions for those errors that appeared. So what I do suggest for you guys is to actually avoid using this translate single document procedure if you have some big size files, or they contain some formatting or something else. I'd rather avoid using this procedure. So this is the reason I always only create projects when I translate. This is actually a guarantee that you will definitely have your target file translated and saved safely as you complete and given to your customer. Plus, yeah, well, this is what I think actually about that. Actually, this procedure can only be applied to some simple documents, simple text documents, not actually requiring some specific attention from the user. And also, if we just close this document and go to the projects, you can see that we have another project here created, which is, just a second, which is this one, right? Since this was only for demonstration, I can easily delete it from here for no need. So I guess this is it in this video. Let's see what we got else to do.